I'm Aaron Meyer, and you're listening to the 19-9 podcast. On this week's episode, we catch up with newly minted University of Evansville head coach David Ragland before he jet sets to his next location.
There's no more off season.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true. I just figured maybe the intensity would be a little ramped down at least, you know.
No, I can't do that either.
You're bringing it.
Hey, you got to be who you are every day.
We finished the episode getting into how he develops players and his combination of new school approach and old school work ethic.
That's been our development. That's how I want to coach is if you give positive energy, you get back positive energy.
It's time to start the show.
And isn't it amazing when Michigan can keep this game to a 19-foot 9-inch game inside that three-point line? It's all theirs. Nice move by Steve Fisher here. Bring it into the 19-9.
Welcome to the 19-9 podcast. On today's episode, we've got David Ragland. He is the new University of Evansville men's head basketball coach. We're excited to have him. 19-9's got some new releases coming out representing the Golden Ace. I've got one of the old designs.
I like it.
I know. I think one of the I love the colorways of U of E. They've got a storied tradition, and he's an Evansville kid from, played at Harrison. We're going to get into some of that, but we're so excited to have him. Welcome to the podcast, David. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me. Man, I love those shirts. I got a couple of them. The material is big time.
Yep. All right, let's start here. What's your basketball origin story? What made you pick up the orange ball and get going with it?
It's kind of weird, man. From Indiana, I think when you're born, they put a basketball in your crib. So
for sure,
I had a basketball in my crib from the moment I was born. My dad used to play pickup ball at Alcoa.
Oh, yeah.
with some Evansville people, actually U of E people. Then, he started taking us to games at the Robert Stadium and fell in love with it, the crowds, the teams, the sleeves, the whole deal. So that's where the love started.
That's awesome. That's some real legacy. Okay, give us a little bit about high school basketball, because I chopped it up with Barnett, and we got a rag on him because his team was like 10-12. You had a pretty good Harrison team. What was it like?
I'm telling you.
What was it like being the best team in the city? Because
best team in the city, region, state. I mean, it was fun. No, I want to say, and I think everyone says this, but the era of basketball was fun. There was a lot of good teams. North was good. Wrights was good. Central had some pretty good teams. Bossy, Shoot Memorial with Clint Keon. Castle had good teams at the time. It was fun. It was a lot of fun. Will Wyman was our coach. I started playing my sophomore year, which was interesting because my sophomore year was when, the last year of open class basketball was.
Yes.
And I remember playing, I think it was a regional game, or we were playing a game in Robert Stadium. And I remember it for a couple different reasons. First off, we got beat. Secondly, I got booed by everyone in the stadium, our fans included. We held the ball for like a full quarter.
Oh my gosh!
Hey man, I'm just with the ball. Like don't boo me. I'm doing what I'm asking.
That's old school Indiana high school basketball, man. Yeah, I was trying to figure out immediately because we're almost the same era. I'm a couple of years older, but seeing if we would have met up in the tournament at some point. That would have been the year. We ended up in the Final Four that year, so that would have been pretty cool if we had ended up playing. But that's awesome. Such a great era in high school basketball. But you went on to play too, so I was curious how your college basketball or your college basketball experience playing there, how that informs your approach to coaching. Because I know some guys think that are players and play in college basketball and then go on to coach in college basketball. Some don't. But how does your experience playing inform how you approach your players today?
For sure. So I first went to Missouri Southern State College, which is now Missouri Southern State University. And the reason why I went there is because of Chris Lowry, who's also from Evansville, Indiana, also went to Harrison High School. Okay. And he just told myself, my family, how the process goes, how recruiting goes. He's honest about it. And we trusted him. And, he pushed me every day to just be a better person. He already knew I was a talented player, but I needed to be a better student. I need to be more mature. And the impact that him, Paul Lusk, who's another assistant at the time, Robert Korn, the impact they made on me was, it was life-changing. I needed it in so many different ways, just off the court. And
don't we all?
I'll tell you. Yeah. So for me, my mom always worked with at-risk kids at the YMCA program called the Diamonds. My dad always worked in different, service leadership programs in the community at Evansville, at the state level in Annapolis. So I think it was something that I was just born into, just serving others, helping others. And so as I got closer to graduating, my calling was to help others. But through basketball. And one of my coaches, once I transferred from Missouri Southern to go to Southern Indiana, and I did that, my father got sick, got cancer, came back home, and Mark Hostetter, one of my assistants, came to me and was like, you know what? I think you'll be pretty good at this. And it was in the middle of practice. I'm like, yeah, basketball. Like, come on, coach. Like, you haven't been watching my game? He's like, no, man, I mean coaching.
That's cool.
And I kind of looked at him weird. And, he's like, look, you have great rapport with your players, with your teammates, with your coaches. You know how to bridge the gap between the two. And then I worked, thankfully, my parents worked hard. So, you are what you see. And I became a hard worker that ended up making me a pretty good basketball player. But people do as they see, not as they're told.
Yeah.
So as a leader, you better do it. Like if you're going to tell your teammate, hey man, you need to work harder, or you need to run more, or you need to sacrifice more. Well, as a leader, you better do it. And he's like, you do it, then you ask your teammates to do it. You don't tell them to do it and not do it yourself. So that materialized into him connecting me with someone, Lou Godino, who he knew pretty well, who got me a start. But it all started because everyone gets some kind of help in their life.
Yeah.
At all stages, whether you're a young child or an adolescent or an adult, someone's always helping you. And there were so many people that helped me to get to be a good high school player, to a good student athlete in college, to now being in this profession. And my whole thought was, how can I get back doing something that I'm passionate about, which is basketball, and passionate about helping other people. So it started that way.
That's awesome. The Diamonds program still going. We had
it's still going strong.
We had it when I was at Washington, and the kids loved it. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for them to go to the Y and get to have that fun relaxation after. So shout out to your mom for her contribution to that.
Absolutely.
Well, let's transition and talk a little bit about the upcoming NCAA season and just get your thoughts. What are you most looking forward to about the upcoming season?
I mean, there's so much. Growing up, watching a bunch of University of Evansville basketball games to now coach not on the opposing side for once. In that arena is going to be a ton of fun in front of friends and families, and that's going to be special. It's going to be a ton of fun to be able to all these years, 19 years of giving back to young people, helping. Because when you give back, like yes, you're helping the student athlete, but you're helping out that university, you're helping out that community, and now it's helping student athletes at a university I'm very familiar with in a community that raised me. So that's going to be a ton of fun. But I think college basketball is moving or is in a moment of I would say that the competitiveness and the levels are getting more and more equal and more balanced. And it's going to be very competitive. Our schedule is going to be very competitive. I think that people speak about Cinderella teams or they speak about Power Five or Blue Bloods, but as the transfer portal and the recruiting is starting to shape up, those lines are starting to get more and more blurry on who's supposed to be what. I think just one team that comes to mind that's kind of been a staple is Gonzaga.
Yeah.
But Gonzaga's in the West Coast Conference. But there's a lot of people that will argue that they're a Power Five or they're close to a blue blood.
Yeah.
Because they can recruit nationally. So I think the parity in college basketball is going to be interesting. Just with people coming and going to different schools and universities, to where this year when we play against St. Louis or Miami of Ohio or Ball State or Central Florida or whoever it may be, it's going to be very, very close games, I think, across the board, because you got really good coaches all over the country with talented teams all over the country. And the one thing we all have that's similar is you have some kind of exposure, media exposure.
Yeah.
Games are getting televised, games are getting followed. The front of the jersey is starting not to matter as much.
Yeah.
Which makes things just more interesting.
For sure.
And it makes things more equal. So I'm looking forward to see just how competitive the NCAA basketball season is going to be.
Yeah, I think that's an awesome point. I know you probably can't say, but would have been cool to see Christian Lander, even like after he transfers out of IU, go back home, guys. But guys like that, you're right, opens up the kind of potential, because sometimes so much is about the right fit. I've been reading when March went mad about Larry Bird, who went to IU.
For sure.
And then to Indiana State. Sometimes it's about fit, and
Yes.
I know I would have played college basketball. It would have been at a smaller school just because I like to know the campus more. It was tough being at IU. Would have been tough being at IU and being so isolated. Whereas at a smaller school, you can know the student body, and they maybe just treat you in a different way.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's some of the as I'm out recruiting, I think that's some of the advantages we have at the University of Evansville. It's a smaller campus, so you're going to know your professor. It's 12 to 16, students in a class.
Yeah.
Your professor's going to know you. You're going to know them. And really, college is about succeeding. Mm-hmm. It's about how can I better position myself to be successful in life? Well, you got to pass your classes and be successful in college before you're successful in life. And a smaller campus like Evansville gives you that opportunity.
It's kind of like small town high school basketball team. Everybody kind of goes together, and everybody just take them to a couple of the Indiana basketball games, the high school games, and say this is what it's going to be like. That'd probably be a good selling point.
Yeah.
So when it comes to all the transfers and all that stuff, how does that affect like the way you do things in the off season and stuff?
Yeah, I think recruiting is recruiting, and basketball is basketball. I think the separation is being authentic, being yourself, caring for people. Like it doesn't matter what you do, but especially in college athletics, if young people know how much you care about them, they'll run through a brick wall for you. And for me, that and the staff that we have, we're going to be ourselves. We're going to push those guys, but we're going to love them even harder. And you just have to be yourself. And I think at the end of the day, it all ends up working itself out. Recruiting is recruiting, coaching is coaching. And if you want to have a great academic experience, well, compete in a classroom just like you would on the floor. And you'll have a great experience. So just being true to yourself, like myself, the staff, and knowing who we want. We want really good players. That's like
that's usually a good place to start.
That's a great starting place.
Yeah.
But special things don't happen unless you have really good players that are really good people. And we won championships multiple different places, whether it's Missouri Southern, we went 30-3 my freshman year. At Indiana State, we had the best stretch of success in the program's history in those 4 years. At Bowling Green, we completely flipped the program from what it was. At Utah State, went to 3 consecutive NCAA tournaments. Within all of that, we had structure, we had a plan, we had good pieces to our puzzle. But above all that, we got really good people all working together toward the same goal. And that's when special things happen. So we want really good players, but we want really, really good players that are even better people. And if we can combine the two, then all the other stuff, like we recruited 4 guys and brought 4 guys in and never once talked about NIL, which is, something we have to address, communicate about, be educated on, and help our student athletes get. However, if you're recruiting good people, whatever they get on top of that, a scholarship and cost of attendance and Austin's scholarship, they'll be thankful for. If you're recruiting really good players that are good, even better people.
Now, is there players that just come in and that's their main focus? Is the NIL? I mean, if you don't want to talk about it, you don't have to. I just
no. There's a good amount. There's a good amount that do focus on that because they know it's real.
Yeah.
They know it's out there. They know that certain players have gotten a substantial amount of money to go and play at university, whatever. However, if you're doing your homework and you know the rules, there's a difference between NIL and pay for play. And you can't pay for play like that. That's going to cause you and the place you're playing at to get in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
NIL is a real thing and that we have to prepare for at the University of Evansville. And we're in the early stages in the works of completing what we're going to be able to do.
Yeah. It's kind of the wild west out there for it. I mean, it was new for everybody last year, and now everybody's kind of laying the seeds, but it is a different approach for sure.
And I kind of compared it to COVID.
Yeah.
When COVID first hit, people were trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
Like it might be this, it might be that. Well, everybody was guessing. The same with NIL. It might be this, it might be that. Some people didn't believe it was a real thing. Some people, fought it. Some people embraced it. But it's here, and it's a necessary evil.
Yeah.
And there's rules and stipulations to it, and we have to follow by them. And not only us, but student athletes do as well. So we'll shift through it.
Okay, I want to shift focus and talk a little bit about coaching, just your general coaching philosophy, but then also just like, how do you go about developing players? Because I think that must be, I just think about that as someone who like coached for a short time at like lower levels, how that must be so much different. Because I used to just like get on my bike and go to the park. That was my development during the summer, or maybe find a pickup game, or if there's an open gym. But now people have got trainers, and I mean, we were just talking before we even got on about the season doesn't stop. You can hear it in your voice. So you start out with your just general philosophy, how you approach coaching players, and then follow into how you help them to develop into to reach their potential.
Yeah, I think the first thing is what do you want? What are you looking for in a player? And we want guys that are skilled, that can dribble, pass, and shoot. I think the more people you have on your team and on the court that can do that, the harder you are to guard. Again, it goes back to your recruiting. What type of people do you want in your organization? And your organization could be, I always think about, Chick-fil-A does things different. Other people sell chicken, but they do things different. Starbucks do things different, but it's their infrastructure. They bring in, anyways. So for us, we want, good players that are skilled, dribble, pass, and shoot, that are even better people, but we also want people that are competitive. We want dudes that you're not going to get better at anything that you do unless you work at it. So it's an unrequired amount of work that it takes to be the very best player that you can be, the very best teammate that you can be. So, but if you're not committed in doing that, well, now you're just lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself and you're lying to me. So we want guys that are committed to it, guys that not only say it, but they do it. So then when you go to coach them, it's everything that they ask. Like I ask every single player, what do you want? Like, what do you want out of this experience? What kind of player do you want to be? What kind of team do you want to play on? And they all answer, I want to be the best player I can be. I want to be on the best team that I can be a part of. All right, good. So when we get to working and we get on you, you said that this is what you wanted.
Yeah.
You want to be a really good player. You want to be on a really good team. So like now it's a moment of truth, and they can't argue with you because they said that's what they wanted. So we coach them hard, but it's in truth. It's in truth of what they said. It's in truth of what they want. And it's all about, for us, this whole summer has been skill development. Like let's improve our skill development, because we're helping you with your dream. You said you want to be a good player. All right, we're going to help you with your dream, but don't you slow it up. We wanted them to know what a winning gym, locker room environment sounds like. I think there's two different gyms. There's a quiet gym, which is a scared gym, a losing gym, or a loud one. And a loud one's an energetic, fun, competitive, winning gym. So, but you can only be in one of them.
Yeah.
And so we talked about enthusiasm, energy, effort, communication, passion. I don't have enough passion, as you can tell. So, like, and I name all those places like Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, you name, because it starts at the top.
Yeah.
So I don't have a voice, and I'll do this every day because I'm passionate about it. I love it. But the players are going to be a reflection of us. And if I'm passionate about it and the staff is, then they're going to be. But I can't say, hey guys, I want energy, and sit back like, just quiet and not talking. So that's been our summer. That's been our development. That's how I want to coach, is energy, effort, enthusiasm, be a good teammate, be a good person. And the world works out through energy. If you give positive energy, you get back positive energy. And that we've grown a ton over the past 5 weeks. I told them the other day, we came in as complete strangers. There's only like 3 or 4 players that came back from
total turnover.
Yeah, and there's a group of guys that were signed by the previous staff, but hadn't been on campus full time. Then we signed some players this spring. So 5 weeks ago, they were complete strangers. And I felt like the end of last week with the workouts that we went from strangers to looking, sounding, acting like a team.
Nice. That's awesome.
And that's the progress that we want to make.
That's got to feel good. I can't wait to see the energy on the sidelines next year.
I'll try not to get too many teams.
You got to get a couple. That's fun. That's part of it. It's fun watching the coach sometimes too.
Now, I just had a question. Like, as you played and now you coach, like, what has skill development changed? Like, since like when you were doing skill development when you were in college, and now the kids like that you're coaching, what do you mean by skill?
What's it look like?
What does it look like?
Yeah.
Back then it was layups and, jump shots, pivot foot turning, all that stuff.
Yes.
Working on your post game.
Back in the day, it's funny because I remember whether it was Lakeview Optimus, we used to go over to it's right on the Armory.
Oh yeah.
On campus.
Yeah.
And just all being in Indiana, like all you get around the rim, it's form shooting. It's, honestly, and I know there's different workout people and guys do a great job with the props and, with the trickery. Like, I'm a simple person. And it's funny how times have changed, where I used to hate doing that stuff to now I understand the importance of it. And it's all about the fundamentals. Like you talk about dribble, pass, and shooting. Well, you can never be too good at any of them.
Yeah.
Because what dribble, pass, and shooting does, it helps with your decision making. You can make good decisions if you can dribble, get to a spot, where your passes are, where they should be, but you get stopped. Now you can work off your pivot to get to your next move, whether it's a shot or a pass to somebody else. So it hasn't changed, which is weird because I always thought like, man, this is boring. But like there's beauty in falling in love with that process. And we've taught our guys that. But, here's what all coaches complain about. They complain about finishing. Oh, we don't finish very well. How much do you work on it? So we focus on working on finishing. They complain about free throws. Oh man, our team just can't shoot free throws. How much do you shoot free throws?
Yeah.
They complain about shooting.
How much?
All right. Well, if you're not doing those things, then you can't complain about them. Or if you don't recruit guys that can do those things and then keep working on their development in those areas, then don't complain about it. So skill development really hasn't changed a ton. The one thing I would say that the game has changed is ball screens weren't huge when we were coming up. So now we play out of ball screens. You got to read tags. You got to read plugs or, help. You got to know what your roller is, your lift is, you guys that are spacing or they're exchanging. So I would say the biggest difference is just reads. Like when you're coming out of a ball screen, seeing what your reads are. Is it your play? Is it your teammates? Is it the help? Are they over helping? That's probably the biggest change in transition. But other than that, basketball is basketball, man. It's a simple game. It's about fundamentals.
That's what's great
Coach
about
Wyman would love me saying that.
Yeah, that's what's great. That's what's great about it. All right, we got a couple more questions for you. We're gonna get you out of here because I know you got a flight to catch. So
Sure.
I'm gonna start you here. A coach's life is a traveling life, so you've been all over. Give us a couple a favorite story, maybe from one of those stops, or maybe one of the most important things you learned kind of along the way. Utah State, Valpo, Northern Kentucky, Bowling Green, Indiana State. That's quite a list you've got.
Yeah. You know what? It's quite the journey. I'm sitting in a hotel right now. I feel like the lighting's like super dark. Like I'm
you're good on our end.
but you know, it's planes, trains, automobiles. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be ready to adjust. And I met some phenomenal people at all the stops that myself and my family's made. Great people that I've coached, that I still keep in contact with. Great people that I worked alongside that I still keep in contact with. And places like Utah State, I never imagined being in Logan, Utah. Mm-hmm. I absolutely loved it. Like, great people, passionate fan base, great administration, co-workers, just on down, just a great experience. So, like, a lot of times in life, it's tough to jump because you want to live in comfort. But it's like we tell our players, the moments when you go from average to good to great is when you're comfortable being uncomfortable. So every moment that I've changed from Vincennes to Indiana State to Bowling Green to Northern Kentucky to Valpo, Utah State, Butler, here, it was an adjustment. It was tough. It was hard to get out of comfort. But in every single step, I've grown so much as a person, as a coach, as a mentor, as a father, as a husband, as a friend. Like, so all those experiences have helped me be the person that I am in so many different facets.
That's awesome. All right, we've got some quick hitters to finish things up here. Let's start out with this. The craziest opposing fans.
New Mexico.
Ooh, that's a good one.
They got in the pit.
Yeah.
There's a guy named Snake. He is crazy.
All right. Team you least enjoyed playing. Maybe the same.
Oh, I know, right? That's tough. I would say it might be Evansville. Actually,
all right.
When Marty Simmons was here at Evansville, it was that motion offense. You had to take time out of whatever your routine was to focus on defending that. It was, and people, so many other people were doing cookie cutter offenses, whether it was, read and react or ball screen motion and Coach Simmons always stuck to motion, and it was just different. So it was between that and the Princeton offense, playing Air Force. Yeah, those are the two that you have to lock in and concentrate on. If not, you're going to get carved up.
Yeah, yes. Backdoor and look silly.
Yeah.
What's your favorite coaching motto, or do you have your own?
That's good. That's a good question. I found this out. My players mess with me because I have a couple like one-liners that they always like mess with me about.
Yeah.
But I think whenever the weak take from the strong, I guess.
Okay, and I love it.
I've been with some really good coaches that I've taken from Craig Smith, Chris Jans, Laval Jordan, Matt Loddick. Like I've taken from Greg Lance, from just different coaches that I've been around, that I stole a little bit from each person, and I'm doing it my own way. So
I love it. Yeah, it's great,
I'm a thief.
That's the way you become a great coach. Just borrow a little bit from everyone, blend it up, and make it your own, right?
Yeah.
Well, we so appreciate you coming on again. I can't wait to see the new U of E stuff that 19.9 is coming out. We're going to get down and wear some of it at a game, cheer you on, and hopefully see a victory. Maybe a technical, but only if it's in a blowout and there's a bad call.
Absolutely, yeah.
Good luck and safe travels the rest of this summer. All right, man. Hopefully we'll have you on again sometime soon. Thanks
for having me. You guys are welcome anytime. Come see us. A lot of fun. Man, I will say this. I encourage a lot of people, and we've been doing a really good job with just social media, getting people excited about the University of Evansville and the basketball program. And people have been great. We've been on Around the Horn. We've been on different media outlets because we have something special, with championships, really good teams that have played here, really good coaches, really good individuals. And I just want people to come and see us. It may take some time for us to get going, but I remember that the Roberts Stadium that I grew up, like, being passionate about my game and wanting to play in front of, what that looked like. And there were so many different programs that came to Roberts Stadium that were bigger, quote unquote, bigger schools because of the atmosphere. And the Forest Center should be the same way.
Yeah.
So I encourage everyone to come out. Like, we have really good people. So if we're not at our best, believe me, there's nobody that wants to win more than myself or the players wearing those jerseys.
Yep.
They're trying. So just come and support us, and let's all do it together, collectively.
I love it.
Thank you.
We'll be there. Good luck, and thanks again for being on. Thank you for listening to the 19.9 podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the podcast, make sure you do. And while you're at it, leave us a rating or review. 5 stars only, like the basketball camp. We also have links to all of 19.9 social media so you never miss a release. Until next time,